Now we're official.
All right, this is where I have to, as I would say at work, watch what I say, turn my filter on. That's usually not present.
And it's Friday, so
Yeah.
pretend it's Monday.
We're waiting on a few more people.
Looks
back
like Mary's just joining, and then we can start when she gets logged on.
Cool. How is everyone doing?
Good. Hi, Mary, welcome.
Hi, thank you.
We're just gonna get started. So I think this is who we have for now, Rob. I think you can get going.
All right. So welcome everybody. Thank you. You are attending the Startup 48 2022, which I think is our 6th year or
I think so.
Wow.
of doing the event. Kicked it off again last year after a couple of years on pause from the pandemic, of course, and just glad to have you able to participate in volunteering your time to be mentors for the event. So I really need to update this slide at some point. I'm going to change the meme because we've been using it for 6 years now, but thank you. You know, this event's not possible without the volunteers, mentors, the judges that possible, and our sponsors as well. So for everyone on the call, for anyone watching the recording, thank you for being willing to participate. To kick things off, and I know we've just got a small group on the Zoom today, so those watching on the recording, you'll get to know the team here, and then everyone else you can meet at the day of the event. But wanted to do some quick introductions. So if you could share your name, and if you're representing an organization, which organization that is. If this is your first time or if you're returning, you can share that. And then we're going to do an icebreaker question because everybody hates them so much and they're so fun. I Googled icebreakers, and the one I found for today was, if you were stranded on an island and could only bring 2 things with you, what would you bring?
Oh, man.
And then lastly, what drew you to this event? So I'll start things off. I'm Rob Brennelson, and I work at Jamf and been working with Startup 48 for since the first year. And if I was stranded on the island, I would probably bring a box of waterproof matches and a satellite phone.
You cheated. You had like all night to think of that. Good one.
That's optimistic, thinking that I didn't Google icebreakers 5 minutes before the call.
Did you also Google best answers for this question?
No, that's the beauty of being the person hosting the meeting, is I get to pick the one that I'm ready to answer.
Oh, you're the worst. All right.
The thing that drew me to the event is probably the energy, seeing the participants and just watching them go from, you know, the first day when they're all kind of getting to know each other, and then getting to where they've got a nice polished pitch a couple of days later. And just, you know, I find it to be incredibly energizing each year, getting to witness that. So, and I'll pass it to Doug.
Just got here.
As I'm turning around to grab my lunch.
Sorry, Doug, you want to wait?
No, that's all right. No, my name's Doug Roten. Been involved with Startup 48 for a while now. Originally saw it and wanted to attend, and then the event got canceled. So it started off as a different name. And I had actually attended a very similar event in Chicago and just loved it. It was really kind of a pivotal moment for me in understanding that I really like product a lot more than I like writing code, and wanted to see similar events like that happen here in this area. And so wanted to make sure that happened. And I got a response back, sure, when can you join the committee and help out? I was like, oh, careful what you ask for. So I've been involved ever since. But it's been a lot of fun in getting involved, seeing the ideas evolve, helping the folks with the ideas, talking to other cool people too that in the area that are working on ideas or like to be part of things that are like this. So that's me.
Doug, if you were stranded on an island, what would you bring with you? 2 things.
2 things.
2 things, endless supply of tacos and probably some sunscreen for my head.
I like it.
All right, who do you want to popcorn it to?
Oh, let's see who else is on the call here. Oh, Susan's here.
That must be me. I
Yay.
must be the only Susan. Hi, I'm Susan Marcotte, and I am the Chief People and Project Officer at Applied Data Consultants, now known more as Elite Extra. And we have a routing, tracking, reverse logistics, and delivery network that we're promoting now. I'm not sure how many years I've been involved, maybe 3, 4. I'm not sure.
Mhm.
Mentor, judge. It's been fun being involved in all of it, and as I think others noted that seeing people go from the beginning, scratching up ideas and taking it to the end has been really a fun thing to watch. And we've done a few similar things in our company, and that's been kind of fun too, to see people kind of take that and run with it as well. And as for the island, I would bring a boat to get off. I don't know if that would be okay. And probably fishing gear to keep me fed when I'm getting off.
Right. Awesome.
All I got.
No wrong answers. Who wants to go next?
I'll go. So, hey guys, I'm Becca Coleman with the Eau Claire Area Economic Development Corporation, one of the organizers of this event. So at the EDC, we do a lot with startups and other entrepreneurs in this area. So I was absolutely drawn to this event, not only because it's in my job description, but cultivating it tends to be young entrepreneurs, and trying to get them introduced to our community and want to stay here and grow here, and after college then continue their business ideas here, or just be employees and eventually make a business here. These are all things that we want to happen in the Eau Claire area. 2 things I'd bring on an island: some kind of fire starter and a bottle of wine. Let's be real. All right, thanks. How about Rachel?
Hi, everyone. I'm so excited to be here. So I am Rachel Funk Johnson, and I own Happy Apple Therapy Center in Menominee. So we have yoga and massage services in just under a 3,000 square foot building and 10 individuals on the payroll. I was attracted to this event because I am an entrepreneur, and with very humble beginnings. My business actually started in the basement of my home in 2008. And to see it grow exponentially, survive COVID, and continue to add individuals to our payroll has been phenomenal. The other reason I'm wanting to be here is because actually I'm pursuing my doctorate in business, and I'm focusing on entrepreneurship. And it's time to give back, and give back to our young entrepreneurs, and really just help them to see where they can go, because I firmly believe it is the most exciting type of business. And I would argue that with anyone. As far as the island, I love beach life. Granted, usually when I go, it's a resort and there's a lot of amenities, and it doesn't sound like that's happening. Maybe it's on the other side of the island and I just need to find it. So I would bring my dog for companionship. Don't tell my husband. And then also, probably also a vast amount of sunscreen as well for the fair skin. And then, let's see, who else is here? Mary.
Okay.
Oops. Hello there. Hi. Thanks, Becca. Thanks for the invitation. I'm Mary Spaeth. I'm a professor of entrepreneurship and international business at UW Stout. Came up here to Menominee, a town I'd never heard of in my life, about 6 years ago now. I was down in Austin, Texas, and teaching at Texas State University, and before that over in Sweden at a number of places. So been involved in economic development as a professional for many years, a specialization, and then a lot of teaching and a lot of mentoring. So watched the evolution of Startup Weekend over to Startup 48, and Ann Rupno and I have commiserated since literally the first month that I arrived here in 2017, and I work a lot with Sherry Marnell, and before that Danielle over in River Falls. So we have our kind of innovation ecosystem going on, but I haven't had a chance to be really involved with you guys over there, and happy to do that. I have been a facilitator for many years for 3-Day Startup, which is a similar formula, but not competitive compared to the Startup formula, Startup 48 formula. So just slightly different purpose. And Rachel, I think you're just down the street from me here on the south side of Menominee, and happy to chat with you if you need any support on that PhD. You know, I thought I'd finish mine up in 3 years, took me 7. You realize that 60% of people who start them never finish. So you need a lot of support and mentoring too. Happy to chat about that.
Thank you, Mary.
Thank you.
All right, I think I'm Subby Fisher. I work with Susan at Elite Extra. I am a senior software engineer there. Actually, since the last Startup 48, I am also now a small business owner. So that splits some of my time in the evenings when I'm not trying to navigate sales tax world. I am the father to 2 lovely children. And then I'm going to go with probably the worst item to bring to the island, but I would bring a tux and a case of champagne because I'm going to go out feeling good and looking good.
Mary,
I forgot to say mine, so I copped out, but I was just thinking about beef jerky. So yeah.
Ooh. Two strips of beef jerky, right? That's item 1 and item 2. And when they're
No,
gone-
no, I loved that endless supply bit for tacos. So I thought, oh, okay, if I can have somehow that endless supply, and then the boat was pretty clever too. So yeah, and I was just thinking of a good stainless steel Swiss Army knife might get me through a few things. But
Well,
Getting
thank
a
you.
boat though implies you want to get off the island.
Yeah, Doug, why would you want to leave if you have an endless supply of tacos?
That's exactly my point.
Well, thank you. And I think that was everyone, right? We don't have anyone joined without video. Double check here. Yeah. Well, thank you everyone for sharing, and looking forward to meeting everyone in person as well. So keeping things moving here, we're going to walk through the schedule of the event. So kind of what can you expect? And we get started Friday night, and then we have mentor shifts on Saturday and Sunday. And we'll go through all 3 days, just so even if you're here just one of the days, want you to kind of understand how the event works, the logistics, and what the teams have been doing, so that you have some idea what they're expecting when you arrive. Stop me at any time if there are questions. This is broken up day by day. But yeah, we're doing pretty good on time here. So if there are questions, we'll have time at the end for general questions. But if I go through anything too fast or anything like that, let me know and we can dive in. So Friday night, we open the doors up at 5 p.m. and the event is over at Win Technology. So 5 o'clock, we'll be setting up during the day, and participants will arrive starting right around 5 o'clock. We'll have a dinner for them. And then 6 o'clock, we do a welcoming. So we kind of kick things off with some energy. We have someone coming in and giving a nice keynote welcome. And we'll do some icebreakers with the teams and get them kind of getting to know each other a little bit. And then they'll do opening pitches. And so not everyone shows up having a concept in mind, but a lot of the teams, a lot of the individuals, I should say, because at this point they are all individuals. No teams have been formed. They don't know each other real well. You know, maybe they've participated in class together if they're students, but they will do an opening pitch, and we'll kind of line everyone up that wants to pitch, and it goes pretty quickly. And what's kind of interesting with that is you'll have 2 or 3 people that want to pitch, and a lot of people that are really hesitant, really like, and you can see it on their faces. They're like knowing they're going to regret it if they don't do it, but they just don't have the confidence to get up in front of a room full of strangers and do it. And then like 1 or 2 people that aren't ready will, and then we'll just kind of get this steady stream of like, all of a sudden it'll be, here's this thing I've been kicking around in the back of my head. It's just an idea. Who cares? Let's get out there and say it. And some of them are like, people in the room are just going, I want that. I want to be on that team. And some of them, people are like, that's the silliest thing I've ever heard of. I want to be on that team. Let's make it happen. And you know, some of them are ones that are obviously not going to move forward through the weekend. So all sorts of opening pitches that Friday night. But that's really where we start to see what ideas rather are going to move on through the weekend. During all of that, Becca is kind of taking notes, writing down the team names, and I can't remember the exact logistics, Becca. Do we have them? We have them vote on a big Post-it notepad.
Yeah, we end up, they get to go like put their Post-it notes on like 3 ideas that they were their top favorite, and then the winningest ideas, maybe 6 or 7 of them, end up being able to solicit team members with those 7 ideas.
And we'll kind of give teams time to, do a little bit of mixer kind of networking, getting to know each other, ask about, if they only had a minute to pitch the idea and want to ask some more questions about it, they can kind of ask the lead person or the person that did the pitch more about their idea. The interesting thing too is sometimes we'll have people that pitch an idea, it makes it up on the wall as one that, some teams or some individuals gravitate towards and want to form a team. And the person that did the pitch actually goes and joins a different team because they may have found a different idea that they find more interesting. And that's okay, right? They're just ideas. We ask that people don't show up with any work having been done for it. We really want it to be a concept at this point. After that, like Becca said, we'll try and filter it down to about 6 to 8 teams to move forward. Or I'm sorry, 5 to 7
Yeah.
of about 6 to 8 people. And some of the teams will be smaller. We don't really want any smaller than about 3 or 4 people. We really don't want them to be more than about 7 or 8 people, or it becomes unmanageable. After that, we do a team activity to, again, just kind of get everyone ready for the event and ask that they get started and they can go to work that evening. This year, we are really encouraging teams to leave Friday night with a good plan of attack for the next day, because we're compressing the weekend a little bit. And you'll see that on the Saturday and Sunday schedule, but we're really encouraging them to be ready Saturday morning to kind of have an idea of what they're going to be looking for from all of you as mentors. And, ideally have a plan of attack to go out if they're going to do market validation right away in the morning. And we'll have teams that'll go to the mall with a clipboard or go to a truck stop one year because they were doing something transportation related, and we're going and surveying truck drivers out at the a distribution center. We want them to be ready so that Saturday morning they're ready to really conquer the day. So any questions about Friday? Again, that's our opening night. No mentor shifts that night. If you're around, you are certainly welcome to come by and watch those opening pitches. I think, is that okay, Becca, or are we
Yeah, that's
asking?
fine. Yep, that's fine.
So yeah, if you want to stop by, see the venue, anything like that, certainly welcome. And then we'll kind of stick around as late as teams want to work and send them home for Saturday morning. Rachel.
Rob, typically how many attendees are there that are there on Friday night, or just in general?
Participants, we have, I'm not sure how many we have registered this year. Usually it's around 35 to 40 participants.
Yeah. We have like 31 registered right now, but I expect there'll be a handful more.
Typically, we have seen the last week, we get a number of people that register, like waiting until the 11th hour. So that's, I think we would anticipate somewhere in that 35 to 40 again this year. Organizers, there's about 6 of us on the organizing group, 6 or 7 that would be there getting things set up and helping the teams that night. And then, yeah, anyone that wants to show up and hang out with all of us. Saturday, we open the doors at 8 a.m. and we'll have some food, some refreshments for the participants. And then they can start right away, but we have a speaker, we have a returning participant that's coming back and kind of kicking things off Saturday morning. We'll do a Q&A session with the teams just to see if they have anything, really to set them up for success for the rest of the day. And then we kind of try to stay out of the way and let them, they're still in that storming stage of getting to know each other. And again, we're going to really stress this year trying to get a lot of that done Friday night, but Saturday morning is really, we want to let the teams get some work done on their own. At noon, we'll have lunch, and we're asking mentors on Saturday to arrive at 1:30. So again, at Wynn at 1:30, if you can plan on being there right around 1:30 or a little bit before. Our plan this year for mentors is we're going to call all the teams back together and do an introduction with everyone all at once. The past couple of years, and Susan, Sevi, you probably remember, we affectionately called it the blob, where we would get the mentors and go from team to team and introduce ourselves, find out what they're doing. And it really took a lot of time, and a lot of the teams found it honestly a little bit distracting if they were not really knowing exactly when we were going to show up as the mentor blob. And so now we'll call everyone back into the main room. They'll know that that's part of the schedule. We'll ask that everyone does a quick introduction. So, say your name, say some history about your business or your organization. And then we'll have you talk about areas of specialty that you want to kind of identify as what you're offering to the teams. We're going off the business model canvas. So I've got a copy of that on the next slide for anyone not familiar with it. If you Google it, you can find a ton of templates for it. But look on that, pick maybe 2 or 3 of the boxes or the areas on there that, if you have a primary area and then maybe a secondary or a third area of the model canvas, we'll be asking the teams to really identify, where do you need the most help? What are you the most uncomfortable with as far as fleshing out that entire canvas? And we'll be looking for what kind of barriers, what can you help with? And let's see, sorry, I'm looking at my notes here. Becca, I copied and pasted this out of Slack. I think these were your notes. So if I'm not doing this justice, cut me off at any point.
Hope you are. I was just reviewing them as well.
Oh, and we're going to give the teams names. Looks like each team will have a color that they're named after, and that's, in the past they've kind of been, this is the team doing the transportation thing. This is the team doing we had a team that did like a bubble to protect cigarette smoke from infiltrating an apartment. And by the end of the event, they had pivoted so many times that it was like, we were all still calling them smoke bubble, but they had
Bubble
changed.
people, yeah.
Yeah, so each team will have a color that we're using as the team name this year. So we've got the consistency, I guess, throughout the weekend. Yeah, so we'll have the teams introduce themselves as well at that point, and then kind of share what their biggest struggles are. And then they'll go back to wherever they're working out of, and they can sign up to visit, or you can, if they say, hey, we're having some difficulty in this area, and that's one of the areas that you've got some specialty, some experience in, and can bring something to them. We'll have you make that connection with them directly after that introduction period. And we're looking for a mentor shift of about 2 hours Saturday afternoon, 2 to 4. You can certainly stick around later. You can come earlier. The teams, if they are looking for help, they will not be afraid to reach out and ask you for it. And we really, it's just nice having that, the brain trust of everyone there and available throughout the weekend. If nothing else too, it's, for the organizers, we'll sit and kind of let you know what's going on and see if we've seen things that we feel a team could use some help, even if they don't ask for it. So yeah, that's something that you can certainly stick around after, or come earlier for. And then we'll do a dinner at the end. And again, teams can kind of stick around as late as they want. This year, we are looking for them to have their pitches prepared at some level, have that framework, have that outline of what you're going to pitch the next day ready before leaving Saturday night. We have not really solidified that or recommended, let's say, that in the past. We're looking for the teams to come in Saturday morning, ideally having, their slides, at least if they don't have them prepared, knowing what order and who's going to present, and kind of knowing that framework for their pitch for the next day, because Sunday we really want to be all about preparing for that pitch. Any questions about Saturday? This is the business model canvas. Again, if you Google it, should be able to find a copy out there. We can send out a PDF if you want as well, or a link to it. This strategizer site, if I'm remembering right, is kind of a nice one where you can plug it in right online. We'll have copies of this floating around as well for teams to fill out by hand. So, Becca, anything on the canvas, or Doug, anything that you think we should call out? anyone, is this the first time for anyone seeing it, or anyone that's really familiar with it that is like, hey, I know this, I've got it memorized. If your printer breaks, I'll make you copies on Post-it notes. Mary,
That for you guys, yeah, I've been at it for, gosh, since the beginning, 2010, I think, 2008, 6, I don't know, but yeah, happy to help.
excellent. And yeah, it's, we don't expect anyone to say like, I am the expert purely in customer relationships and I don't want to talk about anything else. Obviously,
Uh,
if you, especially
two things. Yeah, two things. One, I think it's nice that calling out that the mentors should kind of focus on an area. The second thing I'm thinking of, for the course of the weekend, are we going to hit all the boxes? I'm just kind of going through and questioning whether we would want the teams to focus on some and not others.
This is Anne's area to speak, and
It is Anne's area to speak.
I could probably, without claiming to represent Ann, but just knowing this because it's also used for preparation for Wisconsin Big Idea Tournament that relies on a combination of this and a kind of adaptation by a fellow named Ash Maria that created this lean startup canvas, which
Yep.
changes the terms just a little bit. And again, we don't have to talk about that, but the
And
9
that's-
boxes just represent the 9 areas of any business and how they relate. So it's not that you want to maybe eliminate a box, but how much do you want to emphasize some of them depending upon whatever the business is. So
Yeah.
some may require greater levels of resources, and some, depending upon how they're selling, might need a variety of channels and stuff. So it kind of depends on the business. But I hear what you're saying, Doug, that if
Yeah,
you
I was
just
thinking
look
of-
at the whole thing, you go, oh my gosh, how do you deal with all of it?
And I was looking at it in terms of too, because I actually modified Ash's canvas when I first read the book because I felt there was an order of operations
Mhm.
that
Yeah.
there's a specific sequence that's probably a better to go through in terms of.
That's it.
things, so-
And academics and practitioners and people who might use it as icebreakers in business meetings or startups will rearrange and argue for the order in a lot of different ways. So the customer segments becomes almost number 1 within 3-day startup, and that was a difference just because it's the Saturday morning activity. There is what they say with the old get out of the building and just find a customer discovery before you decide that your baby is so great kind of thing. So yeah, I hear you.
we are asking the judges to use this as the kind of the rubric, or they'll have a copy of it this year. And I think, we would want people to have spoken, or at least be able, to give the judges a sense that they have thought about each of the boxes. But, echoing what Mary said, where depending on the business, you may have one where your channels, if you're a retail restaurant location, purely walk-in traffic, it may be more obvious and you don't spend a ton of time on that box because it's just kind of self-evident in your presentation. But if you're manufacturing and you're going to have vast resources in order to make that happen, spend more time on it. But ideally, judges are going to have this and want to be able to know that you've thought about each of them, at least at the surface level. We'll have Anne at the event, and we can make sure she's got a good understanding of what we're asking from the judges, and that is something we want to make sure that mentors are giving the right answer for what the judges will be expecting. So we'll make sure before we do the introduction and get everyone out there talking to the teams that Anne's able to speak to that a little bit as well.
It might be nice for the participants too, if there's any groups that are struggling, if there's like a few areas that would, again, to Mary's point, depending on their business type, but if there's a few that maybe are just a little bit easier to start with, to get them going. Because sometimes, right, it's that getting started is half done. So that might be a suggestion too, to have kind of in our back pocket for the mentors if we see some of that happening.
Definitely. Yeah, and I think we'll ask them to kind of score each of the boxes, and it may be that they don't have anything written into one, and that's not because they haven't thought about it, because it's they've got that on lockdown, they've been talking about it all morning. So we're going to ask them to kind of self-identify which of the areas they're feeling the most struggle in. And again, just, think in terms of the 2 or 3 areas that you'd be looking to offer support in, kind of stack rank your top ones. And if we'll take a look too, if we have everyone. I think Becca, when you were signing people up, you've walked through this a little bit already, or we go on
Yep.
Saturday?
Like as the mentors, we're able to pick their top categories of expertise based off of, what we see in front of us right now. Perfect.
That's Saturday. Oops, gotta click. Sunday, we start a little bit earlier. We'll have breakfast and doors opening 7 a.m. if anyone wants to show up. And Doug, did we have anyone that early Sunday last year? You do the morning shift, right?
Yeah, there's sometimes some folks getting started pretty early.
I think they were just hungry.
It was a combination, but
Yeah.
most of the people were a little bit slower rolling in.
True.
Because some of them went somewhere afterwards and met up too, so.
But yeah, we'll have the doors open. We'll have some food available. It says work begins at 8:30. I mean, realistically, it's whenever they want to start. The facility will be available starting at 7. There's no presentations or anything really that morning. It's just all a work day. One thing that we've changed this year. So in the past, we did a tech check in the afternoon and the mentor shift in the morning, or kind of, the mentor shift throughout the day. We're pivoting the event a little bit and making the tech check and the mentor shift all one event. And we're really looking at it as practice pitch or pitch prep with the groups. And so the expectation we're setting is that at 10 a.m., a group, whatever group is ready at the time, is going to do a practice pitch. And we're going to have them do that in the main room so that we can do that tech check at the same time. Tech check is really plug in your laptop, right? Make sure the projector works, make sure if your presentation needs Wi-Fi, that the Wi-Fi works. Sadly, we've had, some teams where they come in and the whole presentation is like a Google online presentation, and the Wi-Fi dropped off, and suddenly, they didn't have that backup file or anything. And I mean, they ate 2 minutes of their 5-minute pitch time trying to get the presentation to work. And our stance is, once that timer starts, we really want it to be equitable across all of the teams. So we want to get everything, from have you held the microphone in your hand so you're not sitting there like sounding really weird, to does the projector work, to are you on the Wi-Fi? And then we'll have them again practice their pitches. They can get feedback right away from the mentors that are there on Sunday, and really dive in deep on any of the areas that you want to make any recommendations. Are they getting all of the boxes on the Canvas answered? Are they, just from those of you that are familiar with these types of events and know kind of the flow and how you want to make sure you're spending time delivering content and reading the room, and not, awkwardly passing the microphone back and burning up some of your time with some of those things. Doug, Becca, anything from a practice pitch that you want to add that we're looking for?
Just
No, I think
just different than last year is where we really don't want any major pivoting to happen on Sunday. So we don't want people who are just doing a mentor shift on Sunday to, have you thought of it like this, and like really recalculate where they're headed? Because it's like, we're out of time. Like, I would love the mentors to work on delivery, customer journey, like all of that. I don't know, the presentation, communication. And if something's not clear, let's clarify that. But I really would discourage anybody to like, let's take a left-hand turn right now because we got short time.
And we'll emphasize that with the teams throughout the weekend. We'll kind of, a lot of times we'll have a timer counting down the number of hours that remain in the weekend. And at some point we'll probably say, all right, if you're going to pivot, like do it in the next 30 minutes, 40 minutes, because it's Saturday night and you're running out of time. Otherwise, if you see like they've got kind of a few different directions they're going, just really help them zero in what's an MVP, what's something that you can get ready to pitch.
And you have 5 minutes to pitch, so you can't go in too many directions.
It in.
Yeah.
And that's from 10 a.m. until 12:30. We'll be doing that. So we'll have, what's that, about 2.5 hours to get through, again, anywhere from 6 to 8 teams. So a bit of time for them to, to kind of work on getting some feedback. We'll try to keep it moving. We may adjust it a little bit. You know, if you find if there's a team that really seems like they're stuck, you know, we may split up the mentor group and try to, you know, help out a team just so that everyone's really got a nice polished pitch for the evening or the afternoon, I should say. But ideally, we're looking to have the group of mentors there, kind of doing a team pitch and practice and tech check all at once. After that, we'll have lunch midway through, and anyone that's there, whenever I'm mentioning this food, we usually have plenty of food. So
Me
if
too.
you're hungry over the weekend, grab a sandwich, grab lunch. Judges will show up at 1 p.m. We do ask them not to show up until just before the evening. We really don't want them. We want them seeing the final result, not the work that went into it. So 1 o'clock, our crop of judges, our group of judges will arrive. 1:30 we start, and so we'll do a little opening thing, kind of recognize the sponsors, recognize the work the teams have been doing over the weekend, and then get going on the pitches. And for a format, it's a 5-minute pitch. Timer kicks in at 1 minute remaining. It'll play a little warning tone, and then I think at 30 seconds, and then it's done. When they're done pitching, we kill the microphone if needed, and hand the mics to the judges, and they'll do a Q&A session for another 5 minutes. Usually that is fully used. The judges usually have some great questions for the team, gets them a chance to kind of sneak in some additional information that maybe they forgot to work into their presentation. Same format, 5 minutes with a warning tone. We'll let them, if a judge asks a question and you know it's right when the timer goes off, we'll let them finish answering that question. But we'll also tell them, you know, hey, it needs to be like a 1 or 2 sentence answer. Don't try to sneak another 2 minutes of content in. Any questions about the format for pitches or the evening or afternoon presentations?
I have a question, Rob, and I don't think you answered that. With the mentoring both on Saturday and on Sunday, is it group by teams, or is it rotating by office rooms in terms of how the mentors interact with each team? And is it a period of time? Or, you know, I know when we've done it, it might be 15, 20 minutes, and then we rotate rooms and that kind of thing. So
in the past, we've done some kind of time boxed mentor, you know, sessions, sign up sessions. The tough thing with that, and that we've kept that in our back pocket for this year. So we'll be ready if we need to kind of, if everyone is looking for support all at once, we'll make sure that it's, you know, it's kind of clear, like, let's meet with this team for a 15 or 20 minute window. We're not doing a formal sign up. We're more doing it based off what's the area of need and struggle, and letting everyone kind of get some initial time with the teams to see how they're doing. And then if we find that, you know, there's a particular skill set that's getting monopolized and you know, not able to get around to all the teams, if there's all the teams are looking for support and we just don't have enough mentors to go around, that's where we'll kind of go room by room and
Okay.
And the introductions too also allow for the groups to raise their hand, say, hey, we need help on X or Y. And that's where we've connected with folks who are available, or even sometimes over Zoom or Slack.
Okay, so are we sitting out in a mentor area and they're coming out and saying, hey, I need your support right
Yep.
now. Can you come
Yep.
in? That kind of thing. Then.
And some of the mentors just end up hanging out with the team because they like the team and just kind of advise them as they go along and work on other things while they're not needed. So yeah, it varies.
Okay.
What we're trying to avoid when we used to do the mentor group going around team by team, by the time you got through introductions and kind of had the team pitch and explain where they're at and explain what their struggles were, it ate up a lot of time. And the other thing that we found with that too is that if a team asks a question, if a team suggests something, no matter what the areas of specialties were with the individuals standing there, you know, working with the team, everyone wanted to answer. No matter how qualified, no matter how much lived experience you had with that particular area, everyone had something to share. And what we really want to try and do is get the teams working more one-on-one with, you know, if it's a marketing area and we've got someone there that's their background, let's get them tied up. If it's financial models, no need to have, you know, me talk about my struggles trying to get a loan that time 15 years ago that's really not relevant. Let's get the commercial banker that does this every day able to speak to that. So that's one of the areas we're trying to kind of clean up, is just make it a little bit more efficient as we're going through and sharing with the teams. Our first year, we had all the teams in one room, and it was actually really nice because we could have our mentor panel set up on a side, and there was this nice visual, like, I'm going to go talk to that person. I remember their introduction. Everyone's kind of spread out at WIN. For the most part, we'll be on the same level, but we have a large kind of classroom presentation room that's our base of operations. We'll try and kind of keep people, send them in and have them check in as best we can. And otherwise we'll, as organizers, be going around and seeing, what do you need? What are you struggling with right now? And trying to make that match up.
Okay, thank you.
What else? What other questions are there? Sunday, otherwise, we'll after the pitches, we'll have a little informal award ceremony, because the judges will go off to do their, probably the hardest part of the weekend, which is making a decision about which pitch is the winner. There is only one winning team, so a little bit of pressure on our judges. We try to do a little informal reward or award ceremony, so everyone feels like they've left with something, and we'll do some recognition for our sponsors. And then the judges will come back and share who the winner is. And we ask them to kind of happy sandwich it. So, they'll go through each of the teams, talk about something that they really recognized, give some critical feedback, but also, really help. A lot of the participants are students. We want to keep people energized. We want people to really, go on and do something with the energy or with their idea. If they want to keep going and make something of it, that's, I think, Becca, I don't want to speak for the EDC, but I think all of us want to see more business in the region, and so that's good. After that, they'll open it up for Q&A from the teams. So the teams may have questions from our panel of judges based on the feedback they've given or the experience that they have as people in the business community. And then after that, we ask anyone that's there, stick around. We'll crank some tunes up and just kind of hang out and have some time for networking with participants, judges, mentors, anyone that's around. We're ending earlier this year. Usually we didn't start doing our pitches until around that 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock time. So it was pretty late in the evening on a Sunday after a weekend of hard work, and everyone was really like ready to get out of there. But this year we are bringing things forward a little bit, and if you're able to stick around, please do. This is grayed out, Becca, because I forgot to get an updated copy from you.
Oh yeah, that's last year's.
I
I had sent it to everybody. It's all in their email, what shift they are selected for. Now there's only 2 shifts, so either Saturday or Sunday.
A couple other quick things. Anyone never used Slack before, or anyone that has? Slack is just a free chat service. If you go to that website, it'll invite you in, and you can sign up for an account if you don't have one already. You don't need to download anything. You can do it right through your browser, or there is a phone app available as well. But yeah, sign up on there. You can reach any of us as the organizers. The participants are all in there. Just a nice way to kind of stay in touch with the teams. We keep this open all year round too. So it's a nice way if you had a team that you really connected with, or want to, kind of help them along, if they, are looking to keep going, people tend to stay signed into it. So you're certainly welcome to use it throughout the year. There's a general channel that everyone will be in. Keep in mind, any of those public channels, the ones with the hash symbol in front of them, anyone on there can see it. Any of the participants, past participants, organizers. So sometimes teams want to break things off into like a one-on-one conversation if it's something they want to kind of talk through, more proprietary items. But yeah, go ahead and download that and sign up if you can. It's available whenever. And if you have any questions or anything, you can reach any of us on there. Startup48.co/chat. And then the last one is our info line. I just am going to ask if you have your cell phone with you, or a Post-it note or something. Take a moment, write this number down. You can either call it or text it, and that'll go to all of the organizers. So WIN is a secure facility, so we'll have to let you in if you're not showing up right at 1:30 or at the the various times. If you run out and need to get back in, if you have a question, if you're running late, really anything, call that number, and Doug, Becca, myself, and we'll each be able to respond or to answer your call. If you text it, just so you know, it's a one-way text. So we'll see that you sent a text, but we can't reply. We can, but it'll show up as like from our individual cell phone number. So that's the one thing that's a little bit weird with it, but we'll see your text. Otherwise, if you call it, it rings each of us and we can pick it up. That's it. We're at the Q&A slide, and otherwise, thank you. Can't emphasize it enough, but yeah, what other questions? What other things? Becca, anything you wanted to touch on?
No, if the only different thing that's this year is our winning team, although we'll qualify for the Wisconsin Big Idea Tournament, which is in April. But also we added a prize package this year, just to note. It's some donated like office space and a marketing session with a local business, and a patent trademark consultation with Bourget Law. And like, there's this handful of things that we offer to the team. I'm not sure, we're not sure if the teams will stay together and want to use all those services, but that we did kind of rally some community members together to offer some free consultation services should the teams be ready to move forward with some questions after the event. So that's kind of a new thing we added this year. Otherwise, I think Rob covered everything, does anyone have any questions?
No, that was great. It's exciting.
Yeah,
Excited to be part of it.
great. Good deal. Be good to see you guys all again.
Yes, thank you for offering this time. Very, very helpful.
Yep, you got it. And then we'll send this to, but there are many other mentors involved, but they just couldn't be on this call today. So they'll watch this, or their return mentors and are cool with the program. It's so wonderful.
Well, there's a couple changes we need to make sure that we're socializing with folks.
Yep.
Well, can't emphasize it enough. Thank you. Truly looking forward to the energy that comes out of the weekend and getting to hang out with everyone next weekend, right?
Next weekend, right? Yeah, we can.
Yep.
It's
I know.
around the corner.
That's fast. I know.
So, everyone watching the recording, thank you. And if you have questions, certainly can reach out on Slack or to Becca or any of the other organizers. And yeah, if anything comes up between now and next weekend, let us know. Otherwise, we'll see you Saturday, if not before.
Or Sunday. All right.
All right.
Thank
Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot.
Bye. Bye-bye.
Bye.